What up, y'all? It's your man Abuamerican here with my man Kyle. What's good, homie?
We finally figured out our tech problems now.
Man, it was crazy. I was like, the powers that be don't want us talking about this.
It's all your fucking Ethereum mining, dude. Get out of here.
I know,
You're
right?
taking down the power grid.
I actually have 2 internet connections now for all my miners and for streaming. So I keep them separate now.
Okay.
Even though this internet connection could probably handle it. I was just like, no more of that.
No more of that. Fuck, man. That was a solid 20 minutes wasted there on that.
That was crazy.
Here we are.
I've never had that issue before, so it's kind of wild that, like, for the first time ever, it popped up like that. Weirdest thing, but it feels weird now because I'm used to hearing myself through the microphone, and now I don't, and so it's just kind of like.
Why do you want to hear yourself talk, though? You're not that interesting, are you?
Oh my, yes, I am. I love my voice; it's very sexy. Thank you.
Fuck, man, what are we talking about today?
We were talking about like the madness going on in the world, man. That madness. There's only one madness right now.
You really want to get me going on that?
Oh man, yes. I want the rants.
Okay,
Let's go full. But hey, but before we get started, for my viewers, a lot of guys might not know who you are, so we should do a brief introduction, maybe.
Yeah, of course. So my name's Kyle. That is actually my real name, and I'm originally from California. I started traveling in 2014. Well, kind of to backtrack off of that, basically back in like 2012, 2013, I was like a pretty smart, pretty successful guy, but I couldn't figure out the women part of my life. I stumbled upon the manosphere, guys like Roosh, and I really was able to figure it out relatively quickly. And then back in 2012, 2013, 2014, I was working a corporate job just out of college. And at 24 years old, I moved abroad to Eastern Europe, and I've ultimately kind of settled down here in Ukraine. And since then, I've basically been building businesses, working online, trading crypto, investing in crypto, and here I am now. So yeah, that's basically all started, though, is I couldn't figure out girls, which I think is a pretty common thing for a lot of guys my age, especially from the States, and was able to just figure out what needed to be done, and it kind of all spiraled from there too. So it's worked out good for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
So now Ukraine. What's it? So it's crazy. I'm from California too, man. I was born in California.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. Like, pour a drink out for that.
People at work were like, I was at work today, and I was like, why are you here? You're from California. I'm like, dude, it's like a third world country within America. What are you talking about?
It really is.
They've got weird ideas of what California is. But Ukraine, man, why Ukraine? What? I mean, that's like.
It's not that far from Germany. It's only 2 hours from where you are, give or take.
No, it's just I'm kind of thinking like in terms of culture or something. That's probably very night and day.
I think ultimately for me, it ended up being that I really like that Slavic culture, that Ukrainian, Belarusian, Russian kind of very far east, Eastern Europe thing. And that really gelled with me. And Belarus and Russia are both a little bit more difficult for foreigners, just as far as paperwork, as far as visas, as far as a lot of things. Ukraine is kind of right in that sweet spot. And I think that's part of it too for me, is that it's right in that point where it's getting more Western, where there's tons of money and opportunity to be made, but it's not so far behind where your quality of life is so impacted. And that's a really fine balance to strike. And I would say, I'm 29 years old. I'll be turning 30 this year. And then, places like Prague, for example, or Budapest, have already kind of like reached that. I don't want to say the limit, but they're already totally just overflooded with Westerners, with stag parties, with foreigners. So I thought that Ukraine, and I still think this, is that it's kind of on that ground floor of just about to tip to the Western world, where there's a lot of opportunity. And by being one of the first people on the ground, you have a real opportunity to just establish yourself, make some money, and ultimately just, do some good too. Yeah.
So let's be real. Too many Westerners, man. That's a big problem, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a big problem. It is. And people don't understand that until they go to Prague and they see at 10 o'clock in the morning, there's a fucking beer cart with 20 British guys rolling down the street, and they're already all drunk off their mind at 10 in the morning. And that's an all day thing. And it's just fucking wrecked. It ruins a city. It ruins a culture. It ruins the girls. Yeah. It does ruin it. That's the honest fact.
One of the wildest things that like, and I don't know what it is, the Brits, man. I'm not, Brits are my homies. I got a lot of British homies. But when I was working in London, I was working down in Old Street. The craziest thing to me was going to work at 9 a.m. and then like just seeing dudes chilling at the pub, like just drinking beer. You can tell they've been there for like, what did you start at 7, dude? What's going on here? It was the wildest thing to see. Not even the Germans. Land of beer. do they do this? They'd look at you like you were. They'd probably kick you out of the country, man. That's just considered like German blasphemous. I don't know. Just nobody who does that. So yeah. But the best places I've been to, I've traveled to 46 countries in my lifetime, and the best places I've been to have the fewest amount of Westerners.
Dude, we suck. To be honest, we
suck.
No.
I just thought about that. That's why I made that face. I was like, man, that hurts.
Yeah, it's the reality though, man. It's as soon as places start getting full up with Americans and Brits and whatever other nationalities, it ruins it. It really does. Like I'd rather it be a little rough around the edges and a lot more enjoyable. Yeah, too much westernization, man. It really does have an impact, and that's why I'm, so willing to speak out about what is going on in the Western world, because I see exactly what will happen. And even when I, my first trip to Poland, I was 2014, and between going to Poland in that time and then coming back a few years later, 2016, 2017, it had totally changed, like totally ruined in just a matter of years. So people don't understand, and unfortunately, like, even, I'm guilty of this too, is that I come to a place like Ukraine. I'm like, well, the service isn't good. There's not this, there's not that. And I complain about it. And then it does come, but that comes at a cost. And a lot of people don't understand that, is that when you start putting the good customer service and all the other things about the Western world into the Eastern part of the world, you lose some of that character that is Eastern European to begin with. And that's what made it so great. You lose it all. You can't have it all. That's just reality.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. You can't have it all.
Yeah.
So into the madness. Let's do it, man. You talk a lot about. Oh wait, yeah, here we go. Mrs. Abuamerican. She says it. True. Bali is damaged because of the Westerners. Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Everywhere.
It is what it is. The madness of the Rona demonetization has already taken place. I've mentioned it. So yeah, the Rona. Dude, I don't even know where to start with this topic, dude.
Where do you want me to start?
That's anal swabs for respiratory disease or virus.
Unfortunately, there's so many fucking faggots in the Western world that they're happy to bend over and take that. That's the reality. And I don't think they're too. I mean, how many American guys are really going to be upset about that? Not that many. All the guys in California, okay, no problem. I can do this too. Nah, dude, people are, you know what? And I've been going off on a lot of conservative influencers on Twitter lately, and a lot of guys that kind of were from the same sphere that I came up with and have blown up certainly past what I have. And you know what? I'm really fucking sick of these people not willing to pick a side and willing to just say whatever it takes to get more clicks. We are running out of hills to die on if you want to preserve any sort of freedom and any sort of liberty in the Western world. Like, for example, Scott Adams yesterday quote tweeted me because he was making an argument for masks. Like, let's think about this. And I said, I'm sick of people like you who I thought were on the good side who are not, who are now counter arguing. I was like, no, the fucking hill to die on was last year and you weren't willing to do that. Now you're still just playing this for clicks. I'm like, okay, so you want to, if you're still making arguments in any way, shape, or form for masks, you're on the fucking side of the losers. Honestly, you're going to lose. All you've been doing is conserving democratic victories for the last 50, 60, 70 years. You haven't done shit. And eventually we're going to run out of hills to die on, and we're already there. I think so. But apparently they keep making new ones, such as anal swabs. That's a new hill to go die on.
Yeah.
But these people will say, oh, well, maybe it's more effective. Like, maybe we should do it. We don't want to kill grandma. Fuck off. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And that's the craziest thing. And I don't think that's what I think we're at the point where basically, how do I say this?
You're on the side of freedom or you're not. That's about it.
There's an intellectual stratification taking place right now. And I think that's intentional. They are literally like just throwing in our face the most ridiculous, crazy concepts and ideas that they defy logic. Like, I've read multiple studies now that show masks literally do not work, but they're telling us to put on 2 now, like,
or 3 or 4.
So I mean, just logic alone should start to click and say, you know what, maybe putting on 50 masks isn't the solution. Maybe there's maybe we need to think outside of the box here, and it's not happening. And I think in my humble opinion, I don't want to get too conspiratorial here, But in my humble opinion, they're using this as a way to like just identify free thinkers and say this is an individual who's gonna always like just go against anything that we throw out there, and these are people who are gonna toe the line, and they're using this as a way to like stratify, separate the two. I don't know.
Well, so here's the thing, man, is that so I live in Ukraine. And for example, my girl's parents have grown up under communism. And you know what they've said to me at least 5 times since all this started? When I've talked about free speech and how you can't question anything, they look at me and they're like, that sounds a lot like Soviet Union times where we were silenced for having any opinion outside of the norm. It is the exact same thing. This is not new. This is just history repeating itself. And yes, that is the goal, is to crush, kill, contain, put in an oven, whatever you want to, however you want to put it. That's what they will do to free thinkers. People who question the narrative. That's exactly the goal. This is not new. This is just history repeating itself over and over and over again because we don't seem to learn this. And unfortunately, people in America and the Western world, they can't understand this. But you're dead on with that, man. You're completely on the spot. They want to crush free thinking. They want to make you reliant on the government. And they want to ultimately just have complete and utter control of your life. And they will silence in whatever way they find necessary whatever it takes to get to that agenda. Just the way they ban people off Twitter, the way they are freezing bank accounts, the way that they canceled Kurt Schilling, Boston Red Sox pitcher, canceled his insurance because he supported Trump. This is just the start, unless people are willing to take a stand. And I'm sorry, but the conservative people who at any point said wear a mask or are still debating maybe we should wear a mask, sorry, you're not on the right side. You need to pick a side. You need to be willing to stand there and die for it. And most people aren't. So that's just the reality.
Yeah. I think we're at the point, I don't know who said it. I'll have to paraphrase it because it's been so long since I heard it. But someone along the lines, they said something like, propaganda is not meant to fool the critical thinker. Propaganda is designed to give a moral coward an excuse not to think at all. And when we say moral cowardice, that means an individual who's, not willing to take action. Because as we know, in order to take action, that takes bravery, takes courage. It means, in this day and age, who's, people are not willing to go against the grain, and
because their lives are too comfy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's consequences and people don't want to face them. And they're not even really severe when you look at the consequences,
No, they're not. But when most people they have Netflix, they have their little 9-to-5 job that pays them just enough that they can get by. They got all this entertainment. They can go out a few times a week. That's all they need. They have those creature comforts. And that's where people are lulled into complacency, and they're able just to program people to accept more and more as long as it doesn't rock the boat. And unfortunately, what these people don't realize is that eventually it will get to the point where that reality will be disrupted. But it takes that reality actually being disrupted for them to understand that. And unfortunately, people have to be pushed really, really, really far before that actually happens. But eventually it will. Just today, for example, I saw something on Twitter from Matt Lawrence that said he got a credit card for his $600 stimulus check. A credit card, not a debit card, which means it can only, and I don't know how valid this is exactly. I actually talked to my grandma tonight, and she said that she got a debit card for her latest stimulus check. But if it's a credit card, that means the funds can't be withdrawn. So now they're controlling the spending that you can do with the money they're giving you. So if you think about that, that's a very easy foreplay to UBI, Universal Basic Income, where, we're going to put this money on a card, but you can only spend it how we've deemed it appropriate. You can't invest it in Bitcoin or gold or silver or stocks even. You can only spend it at these pre-approved retailers like fucking Walmart, fucking Target, Amazon, whatever else they deem okay.
Yeah. So you tweet about this quite a bit. You have very, very strong opinions. No problem. I agree with your opinions. Fair. What does the average person do at this point? I mean, we're just looking at all sorts of crazy going on. They have found out, whoever they may be, that there is no limit, that they can just keep pushing. So what do we do? What does the average person do?
So here's the thing. People are starting to wake up because they pushed so far. Even my parents, who were in their comfy little fantasy land for many, many years, they came to Ukraine this last summer. And by the time they were ready to leave, they were looking at me like, oh God, do we have to go home to the masks and all the craziness? Like, we can't just keep going to restaurants and enjoy our life like we've done here for the last few weeks. Their reality had been shattered.
Go ahead. You guys don't have masks or anything in Ukraine?
Dude, I mean, we're supposed to wear them in the store and in the metro. I don't
Uh-huh.
wear them in the store. People, maybe 1 out of 10 say something to me. Nothing on the streets. Even the metro, the fine is $10. So I put it to get on past the babushka, the grandma who's like watching the turnstile, but then I take it off and I'm just waiting for the cop to come find me. I haven't been fined yet. It's been months. And other than that, no. People, I mean, some people wear it on the streets, but no one's going to chastise you on the street for not wearing it. No, it's pretty chill. It's
Okay,
chill
sorry.
in probably
Just
90% of countries, I'd say.
surprised me. I wouldn't move for masks, but it sounds very pleasing.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. So
Yeah, I know, right?
yeah.
Yeah. No, so that woke my parents up though. And I think a lot of people, you look at the GameStop stuff, you look at all the stuff that, Sleepy Joe's rolling out, you look at so many things that have happened in the world in the last 6 months, and people are understanding, they're starting to wake up. So what does your average person do? Your average person, I mean, so here's the thing. A lot of guys, they're not going to just pack up and move abroad. And let me be the first to tell you, you can have a damn good life abroad. Like, you really can. It's really not that hard to make it. It's totally doable to do. You and I are perfect examples of that. But what guys can do is they can take that stimulus check and they can put it into Bitcoin. They can stop spending money at the places, stop buying Nike shoes, stop supporting the businesses that have, got politicized this and that. Spend your money at the places it matters. Don't go to places that require you to wear masks. Punish. I mean, that's true capitalism, right? Free market. Someone wants you to wear a mask. Say, I'm taking my business elsewhere. That's all you can do. And, I think a lot of people, this is kind of a common mantra of men, is like, well, I think I individually can save the world. And unfortunately, that's not the case. The unfortunate reality is that you have to have a band, an army, a tribe to do that. Yeah. And we're people in general not organized enough to do that at this point in time. But you can make little differences. And the best thing you can do is just look out for yourself, obviously.
Indeed. Yeah. I was actually at one point I was kind of like, what's the word? For lack of a better term, I was kind of proud of the southern German states. They've buckled, unfortunately. But in the first lockdown, they just said we're ending it. You had Bavaria, Baden-Württemberg, and Saarland, the state I'm in. They just banded together and said, you know what, we're going to group together and we're going to walk out of this. And what are you going to do about it? And that's basically, that was the breaker of the first German lockdown. Now they're like deep into it. They're just, I don't know, they got strong armed or something. So I was kind of proud of these guys at first, but yeah, you definitely need a tribe. You need community. It's not something that can be done alone. And I think we're seeing this now in a lot of Europe, where there's a lot of protests taking place, like, country after country now. It's really, really starting to accelerate.
Crazy.
Isn't it crazy? I mean, Austrians are Germans, and it's like, so it's kind of like if the Austrians kick off, I think it's just a matter of time before the Germans do. I don't, they're going to be looking over there at their cousins like, hey, man, like, yeah,
you guys have bigger balls than us. Well, and that's just the thing. I don't think it takes much. Like, you look at Italy, and I think, what was it, like 50,000 restaurants agreed to open, right? And they did. And you know what? I haven't heard a fucking peep from the news since then, which means they're probably still open. Like, that's, I don't know what the actual story is, but I would wager they're probably still open. And like here, just the other day, there's this organization called Save FOP, and FOP is like their small business entrepreneur entity here. And they shut down, they marched from here to the US embassy because they're pissed at the US for something about Biden, I guess. And that's 8 kilometers away. And they marched the whole way and they shut down all the streets. They had police escorts and they were blocking, there's like probably 3, 4, 5 major streets here. And at one point, 3 of those streets were filled up with people. Like, there were no cars allowed. So that's just it. People in the West need to be willing to take a stand and just be willing to risk. That's just it. It's not against the law to peacefully protest. They can't arrest you, supposedly, for marching and protesting in the street. So just get organized and do something about it. Stand up, have a voice. That's where it starts. I'm not saying go burn down the Capitol yet, but if it's all written in the Constitution, man. It all is. We have an obligation as people to overthrow the government if they are acting tyrannical. It's reality.
Yeah. Thank you to Mr. What a name, Mr. Bacon. For the $2 super chat. Gentlemen, I have arrived. Let the sin begin. Yeah, we're at it, man. Mr. Bacon says, Even Austria is pissed over Biden. Yeah, Austria, France. France has been in it for a while. Those French, they always got to stick up their butt. Those guys, and it's not like a pleasurable one. They just seem like it's maybe like a thorn branch because those, from a freaking rose. Those guys are always upset about something.
Mm-hmm.
The yellow coats, I think they're called, or whatever, the yellow jackets. They've like rebranded to like anti COVID protests. We had
because they were pissed about the migration problem a few years ago too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're always mad about something. The French. They're French. I work with some French guys. They're always just something's wrong with those people, man. They're always upset about something. Yeah, and then it was Amsterdam was next. I think it was. Was it Netherlands? Yeah.
Yeah, there were places in The Hague and Rotterdam, I think, that had some pretty. And Denmark. I'm surprised, dude. The Danes. They've been putting on some pretty good protests too, and good for them.
Yeah. So I think for the future, since we're there and we're seeing, a chain of events in terms of protests taking place all over Europe, do you think that's going to be something that's going to happen? Like it's going to expand, or you think people are just going to be like, I'm going to, comfort my life out. I'm going to take this little anal swab and, wear my 3 masks.
So here's the thing. If in the US, for example, if they start pumping out a $3,000 a month UBI, people will shut up and take whatever they require for that. Absolutely. I mean, that's how this works. I mean, it's very easy to see. Is we just give you a hit and see how you like it, all this free money, and you give you a little bit more, and they just keep going, and then they put strings on that hit. They put strings on that UBI. You have to do something in order to get it. So then it becomes, you have to get tested for COVID every week. You got to bend over and take the anal swab, or you need the vaccine. Then you can get your UBI, whatever else it might be. And then that very quickly can erode to, you need to obey the laws of society and think correctly. Social credit score, just like China. And we'll march that way really, really quickly, and things will, they'll domino extremely fast. Once people start getting that hit of UBI of the free money, all of a sudden they'll do anything for that free money. Don't have to work, don't have to do anything, take the free stuff. Just like that, we have a social credit score. Just like that. It'll happen faster than people realize, man. It'll be a matter of weeks, months, if that. And that's fucking scary.
That's really scary, dude. I'm already looking for a bailout plan in Germany. I don't think Germany's going to go that far. I mean, you're hearing the rumblings already. People are like today I did a test. I was like, there's this bakery I go to right around the corner from the spot I'm working at, and it's a very cute girl. So I said, hey, let me go ahead and throw on a little charm here. And I was just like, I said, I freaking hate masks. She was like, I hate them too. I said, so then you're not going to snitch on me if I take this off. And I stood in there with, and Germans are like real rule followers, like robots. Yeah. And I was standing in the store. I think it was the first person in like months, maybe since last year that stood in that store since, without a mask on. So yeah, people are getting tired. We had an inspection on our construction site. Police came by. They're wearing these FFP2 masks. Nobody was wearing masks on the site. They just walked around looking like, yeah, what up, guys? Nobody cares anymore. And I think we're at that point where it's basically we're going to see, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't see anything good coming out of it. I just know I'm happy I bought weapons instead of toilet paper when this all kicked off. I saw this coming. So
yeah, that's what I wonder is like, I look at Ukraine, like right now, that entrepreneur protest, they've been camped out at the main square since like November in freezing temperatures. And there's solid couple hundred soldiers guarding them because there were some clashes with police, but none of like this, there's like 8 soldiers. I just walked by them today. There's like 8 of them out there smoking without masks on. So do they care? I don't know. It's a fine line, and that's if you don't know where the military stands on these things, and it's hard to gauge what's correct and what's where they're standing and where things are going. But you also can't overlook the economic opportunities by countries that are staying open and by countries that are not enforcing like wear a mask everywhere. Those countries are going to have opportunities, and someone's going to snap. Grab that. Like Ukraine last summer, for example, we were booming here, man. It was absolutely packed with tourists all summer because everywhere in the EU was shut down. There was no mask mandate, nothing here. So someone eventually will smart up and take advantage of this. I just don't know who it'll be.
Yeah, well, now you're looking at countries like what was this? Canada, a few others in Europe. They're basically outlawing and banning free travel.
Yeah.
Canada was basically like, you can't travel to sunny countries without like, a legitimate purpose, whatever they consider to be legitimate. So basically it's like, this is what bothers me the most. And you talk about this a lot on Twitter. It's like our basic fundamental rights as citizens of a particular nation are being removed. And I mean, it's like the right to freedom of movement. So now, since when, where in our constitutions anywhere does it say, well, your right to freedom of movement is all good unless we have a pandemic, unless, you know what I mean? So now when they've opened up this door, oh, it's a pandemic, oh, it's this, oh, it's that, it just opens up the door in general where they can ban you just arbitrarily, from your rights. They can remove them, they can revoke them. I mean,
yeah. Well, that's, let me play devil's advocate here in that the whole travel anywhere in the world within 20 hours for less than $1,000, that's a new thing in society. It's a new thing in the world. This is a newfound human freedom in the last, not even 50 years, like 30 years probably. Agreed. So they gave it to people, but you're right. Who is the government? Who's fucking Justin Faggot Trudeau who can say you can't go to Mexico for some sun and some vitamin D? And actually, this is why we wanted to start the show. They're trying to keep people sick. Yes. Let's hole you up in Canada, in Montreal and Toronto, and let's send cops door to door and check on you and make sure you don't have more than 3 people, whatever the hell it is, inside your house. But you can't go get some vitamin D, some sunshine, and relax a little bit. So who are they to say what is best for your health? It's very obvious. No government gives a damn about your health. Like, I don't know how people fall for this, but it's pretty obvious. And this is true throughout the entire mainstream world. Like, people say, oh, you shouldn't eat eggs. You should have cereal instead. You could, have the sugar in a box. People are incapable of thinking for themselves. And I almost can't blame the elites. I can't almost blame the government for wanting to control people when they are so stupid and unable to think for themselves. But that is the reality now, is that Canada has said, we will tell you where you can and can't go on vacation, which that's a very dangerous line. But Canadians will say, oh, it'll be okay. We'll just take it.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like, they wanted to push to see where the line was to where they couldn't push anymore. And I think they've realized there's no line, and man, there's so much I'm trying to vomit out here, and I don't know how to
there hasn't been one drop.
No. The problem is, okay, here's one of the biggest problems we have. We have ostensibly intelligent individuals that are backing this stuff. I mean, I even have people that I consider to be respectable people that I have a, modicum of respect for, pushing and believing in the whole COVID line. And as a man who's had COVID-19, I can tell you, it's not that bad. It ain't a pandemic. It's influenza, on speed, a half a dose of speed. It's just, I don't know why we're doing all this, and I don't understand it. My personal story.
I saw something the other day though.
Go ahead.
I mean, there's like no food deaths this year, man. I think it's like 150 now in the U.S. this year. Yeah, you're cutting out a little bit, or I am. I'm not sure who it is.
Maybe it's me, because you're coming through clear for me.
Can you hear me, man?
Yeah. There's a little lag. Yeah, there's some delay. Yeah, there's some delay, but I hear you fine.
Okay. Okay, I can hear you okay, but it's a little lag, so keep going.
Yeah. Oh, just personal story about COVID. I mean, I was in a house with a newborn, 10 days old, and my elderly retired in-laws, and we all caught it. And I think the person who got it the worst was my daughter. I mean, because it looked like she was coughing up like blood-colored mucus. And so we took her to the hospital, and they were like, there's nothing we could do. It was the early stages. It was last year, February, March-ish. She was 10 days old, coughing up like blood-colored chunks. And, we were freaking out as parents, and they just sent us home. No medication, no instructions other than if it gets worse, come back. I'm like, it's blood-colored chunks. How do you get worse? Should a lung come out next or something? And I mean, the girl's crawling around here just fine, standing up, almost walking now. It's not even a full year later. My aging in-laws, my father-in-law You know, he's a retired pilot. The guy is a chain smoker. I don't think I've seen that guy like a full 2 minutes without a cigarette in his hand. And he got through it. You can't tell me this is all that, you know, worth all of this just craziness. I did push-ups and was on my punching bag back here in the other room, you know, for like 3 weeks that I was home. So I think I'm just gonna rant now. I don't know if you ever watch my shows. I rant sometimes. People, this has been a proof that you need to take care of your health more than ever. If you're not taking care of your health, then, you know, I'm sorry. The eugenics Abuamerican comes out. It sucks to be you. You know, it's just, you had your opportunity. We've been saying get sun, eat meat, do exercises, work out, and you didn't do it. And now I gotta stay in my house and walk around like a dickhead with a mask on. Sorry. So, what were we talking about before I lost my cool day?
I understand you, man. I've been saying the same things.
Yeah. So,
yeah, man, I think it's my internet actually. It's having problems here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got like new super fast internet. I bought the most expensive, fastest. Well, it's not the most expensive, but it's the fastest package I could get. Don't tell your dad I said that.
I'm gonna try to switch to my phone here.
Oh, okay. I'll wait for you to switch over. Guys, more than ever, and I mean, the corner of Twitter that brought all you guys here to this channel has been saying it, Kyle included, get your money right. Because if you have your money right, you can't really be controlled. You are uncontrollable, aka dangerous in their minds and in their eyes, which is not entirely good. If you have freedom. Yeah, so guys, it's kind of like, it's not too late, but you kind of jumped on too late. You should have done this like 2 years ago. Wait a second. So I'm gonna add you. Yeah. I've got 3 of you on here.
Back.
Okay. I had like 2 of you in the stream. I was like, what? Let me.
That was a good rant, dude. Can you hear me? You got me, right?
Yeah. I got you. Yeah.
Cool. No, dude. I mean, I fully agree with you. Like, how much, you know, there's no flu this year. There's no one dies from heart attacks now. Cancer's been magically cured. Like, how far are we going to push this? Because we've ruined a lot of people's lives. And, you know, no, not we, politicians who should be fucking thrown in jail, if not hung, have ruined people's lives. And, you know, it's an easy agenda to see. They want to reset the world. They want to fix all the problems because they think they can fix problems, even though they can't do anything right. It's just it's the reality, man.
What? Abuamerican, I had a serious trouble in Qatar. I need your advice. I'm a black sister. It's an interesting.
What's the problem? Let's solve this problem.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and jump into it right now. Go ahead. I mean, we're here. Shoot. Let's go ahead. Right here. Drop it, earthly nomad. And let's see what we can do for you, inshallah. I had a bunch of problems in Qatar also, so maybe I can help you. So anyway, until then, this is one thing that actually kind of bothers me. Mm-hmm. And I can't really wrap my head around it. Maybe because I'm coming from a too analytical, logical position. Why are they trying to wreck the West? I mean, I know I can understand a reset, but it's just like they are really getting things up. So it's like, you want to be king of the trash heap?
How deep you want to go on this, man? You want to go dive down into Illuminati stuff, or do you want to just go through the basic people in power want to keep power and they want more of it? I mean, that's just it. Politicians want more power. They like the control. For the most part, I haven't seen many politicians who've actually accomplished much with their lives. So whatever they can get, they'll take more of it. They can control people. And a lot of people get off on that. And that's what people don't understand, is that it's not money. People don't care about money. No one actually cares about money. People care about the power in politics. That's all that matters, is how much power they can wield and how they can control other people. So to that end, they're just pushing and pushing and pushing and seeing how, you know, when people will break. And unfortunately, people haven't broken yet. People are willing to tolerate quite a bit, unfortunately.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm responding to Earthy Nomad. You're literally Earthy Nomad on here. Nobody knows who you are. I mean, you're a literal anonymous account here. I mean, don't tell us your name.
What happened to you in Qatar? What happened? We can't talk about that on there.
I don't know what the yeah, I don't know. Qatar is, the Middle East in general. It's like, these are places where if you get in trouble with the government, you don't really want to talk about it publicly because they'll come for you. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
here, Earthy Nomad is literally like anonymous, so there's nothing that yeah, I mean, it's like, how are they gonna get back to you unless you snitch on yourself, bro?
Oh, dude, the internet is not that private. Come on now.
Nah, but I mean, it goes back to what I was saying about Alexa. Also, a lot of people are worried about Alexa, stalking them, and it's like when you look at their Twitter, it's like, dude, Come on, they're gonna listen
It's
to
not
you.
even Twitter. It's your smartphone. I mean,
No, I'm just saying you can look at their
yeah.
Twitter feed and you can understand that the level of discourse and dialogue they're having in their life in general, and it's like, Alexa's not listening to you, buddy. It's just you really don't have that much going on.
Well, I mean, dude, that's just it. It's everything's listening to you. Snowden showed this. People don't understand that, but he showed it. Everything is fair game if you are believed to be a target. It can all be cataloged, it can all be retraced, it can all be found. Everything, it's all fair game. It really is. Everything in the world, pretty much at this point. Anything with a microphone, anything,
Yeah. I talk about stuff and I get commercials for it. So it's like it's done for. Alexa, Alexa, I have 3 wives.
Oh, you don't have an Alexa.
I got Alexa. Oh. Alexa, I have 3 wives, and you know what? I just gave Alexa the finger. Call the cops. Yeah, so I'm a bigamist, Alexa. She's over there like doing the little light thing.
I'm a racist and a sexist and many other ists. Bring it on, Alexa.
Yeah. So, I mean, power though. I mean, they have power though. We've seen this with Wall Street bets. These guys have power. So it's like, I don't see why. And I'm coming back now. Let me play devil's advocate because like I said, this is a tough one for me to wrap my head around. They have the power. They literally like just shut down Wall Street bets and nobody could do anything about it. They're just like, hey, you know what? We're just going to stop.
I've been offline for the last 6 hours. They actually shut down Wall Street bets.
I mean, I'm just saying they shut them down as in terms of like, you can't trade and we can still do whatever the hell we want,
So you're saying, when do they have enough power?
I think they already have enough. It's just like they
dude,
literally.
Well, what? Okay, go talk to a crackhead and tell them if you had enough crack.
That's true. All right, fine.
Like, come on, game, set, match. Like, come on. Like,
okay, fair enough.
No, it's a drug. Go talk to the guy. Yeah.
Okay, fine. That's a pretty good point.
Yeah, it's a drug. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. Plain and simple.
Oh man, damn. Okay, fine, fair enough. I accept that. But we come back to what I was talking about. It's like, okay, we got the average Joe out there. He doesn't have a tribe. He doesn't have really a community because we've destroyed the universe. The new nuclear family, and without the nuclear family, you definitely don't have a community. There's no way you could say you have a community and you don't really have a nuclear family. How the hell, it's just impossible. So now we just got a bunch of lone sheep out there. What are the lone sheep going to do? They can't all move because if they all move, they're all going to come to wherever we are, and they're going to make it the place like there are already. Because it's just naturally that when people generally leave one place to try and escape something, they take it with them because it's them, it's not the place. So then a guy says, "Oh, dang, they're not wearing masks in Ukraine. I'm going to go there." Then he goes there, and then everybody else goes there, and then they turn basically where they left into where they've gone to because, well, shouldn't we be wearing masks?
So here's kind of where I stand on this. That's a very fine line. That's a very good point you make there. It really is. So people all the people who moved to California or from California to Texas or to Idaho, wherever else they're going, they go take the same shitty voting policies and look at Austin now. Look at all these other places that used to be red that are not. So that's why I don't really know. And you know what? I don't really think the West can be saved. So my goal is to focus on here. I can talk to Ukrainians. I can tell them this is what I get it. There's some real good stuff in the West. I get it. All that convenience, all that shiny stuff. It's got an appeal. I get that. But this is the side. There's a trade-off for that. You will pay a price for that. And I can at least educate people here and I can speak out. And I can't just say that so directly. What I have to say is, it has to be underhand. They have to see for themselves. You have to, give them a bit of the red pill, give them a taste, but they won't understand it until they see it for themselves. And to the guys that are coming here, I mean, that's just it. Like, guys, if you guys want to show up here in Ukraine and want to go do the same shit and put on a mask, I mean, I'll just shame the shit out of them. So that's just it. You have to say, like, guys like me and you who are abroad, if they actually have the balls, well, first off, they have the balls to escape and actually leave and build a business, then they're open to having their mind changed. And I would hope they're not so much of a pussy they put a fucking face diaper on their face, because that doesn't add up to me. You're willing to build a business, move abroad, leave everything behind, but you want to put a fucking condom on your face? Like, no, that's not how it works. Like, guys, for the most part, are going to be willing to have some balls and not do that. So, it's a fine line, but the populations in these other countries need to be educated, and they need to understand they will pay a price for that Western way of life. It'll be ruining their families. It'll be universal basic income. It'll be a lot of things.
Yeah.
I don't know why you're still in Los Angeles coming on. Get the fuck out of there, dude. Like, Jesus Christ. LA, dude, LA is the worst. It's the cesspool. It's where all the poison comes from. LA fucking blows. And I lived in Santa Monica, a nice part of LA, by the beach. It was, not Hollywood, but holy crap, LA sucks. There's nothing redeeming about it. Nothing.
Yeah.
Get out of there, man. But don't come to Ukraine.
Ouch. Earthy, hit me up on Twitter. Earthy, if you're not on Twitter, then get on Twitter and hit me up on Twitter. Actually, I got my DMs closed. I don't know how you're going to get a hold of me. Earthy, okay. Coaching at Abuamerican.com. Email me. That's coaching at Abuamerican.com. Hit me up there. So, yeah. Anywho, where were we? I had some stuff on here.
We haven't followed no outline, man.
No,
what the fuck kind of question is this? What do you think of marriage at puberty to teenage boys?
Where is this? Who said that?
Kokaka.
Oh, jeez.
Kamran. I lived at Santa Monica, Wilshire and 9th, so very close. Good spot. You should get out of there still, though.
Yeah, Kokaka, I'm going to put you in timeout. Let me just put user in timeout, and there you go. We'll put your ass in the corner. You just turn around with the dunce cap on. So, yeah. Okay, so Kyle. Where do we go with this, man? Where do we go with this? I don't even know where to go next. Because, I mean, I've been talking about this for like weeks. And so people really know how I feel. Mm-hmm. Oh, here we go.
Goddamn bacon.
I know, right? Mr. Bacon. I'm Muslim bacon. So it's haram, but, you the man. You the man. Thank you for the 550 super chat. Did a show called Alien Invasion. Californians have been moving here in what's the PNW?
Pacific Northwest. That's like Oregon and Washington.
Oh, I thought we got knocked off air. I thought, oh man, I was about proud of myself. I thought the show went off air. Okay, so sorry. Back to Mr. Bacon. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Did a show called Commie Alien Invasion. Californians have been moving here in the PNW. I don't know what that is.
Pacific Northwest.
Pacific Northwest. Okay, see that's
Oregon, Washington. Yeah.
See, I've been out the U.S. 32 years, so all the things were lost to me. I haven't seen in years. Literally have 700 plus plates.
What are plates? Women? Is that what he's referring to?
Dude.
I don't know.
I can't juggle like 5. I just start losing them when I get around like 3. They just fall off. 700?
You know what? The funny thing is, though, I think like Seattle and Portland are worse than California. I mean, look what they did in fucking Washington this year in Seattle with their little chop zone. I mean, Portland's been having riots and shit burning to the ground for months. It's as bad as California, if not worse. I mean, I don't know.
Let me ask you something. Can you unplug people, or do you just leave them alone? What do we do? What do we do with like people who are just like, oh, wear your mask, get your immunizations that haven't been tested? How? What do we do with these people?
No, people won't take the red pill until they're ready. People won't accept the reality until it's too deeply in their face. All you can do is present opposing evidence that may sway them and can assist with them unplugging. Like I would say when I started, I gave up just directly telling my parents this stuff. What I started doing was I started sending them articles that debunked the normal news. I started sending them articles about all the people that have face paralysis from the vaccine, or all the people that died from the vaccine. And all of a sudden, my mom, who works at a public school, went from, oh, it'll be really good if the vaccine comes out, to I'm finding a new job if they make me take it. So all you can do is present evidence. And you know what? This is where I actually think the problem is that people can't get that evidence, because not everybody's on Twitter, and not everybody's capable of searching the internet for the information that they don't understand or that they can't find. They are reliant, and that's the fair word to use. They are reliant on the mainstream news, which is obviously fake and false and full of bullshit to anyone with a brain. They rely on that. That's it. That's their end game. So it's your responsibility to show these people what the alternative views are. And I think most people don't even understand that there are alternative options out there. And that's where people are fucked. Because like me, for example, I'm brash. As you said earlier, I say whatever the hell's on my mind. So I can't just go and attack their entire belief system. I have to just show them there's an alternative. And most people who have a grain of intelligence, once they start to understand that there's other sources out there, they'll say, oh, maybe there is something to this. And if they don't, they have no fucking chance. But, those are the people that you let them die. That's Darwinism. That's how the world works. You let the weak die, But I think people will be pleasantly surprised if they just present the evidence and let people draw their own conclusions versus shoving it in their face. And that's how, every family holiday goes astray, is by people just shouting their politics at each other. You need to just give people the opportunity to unplug.
Okay. I'm just looking like, what the heck is that? Swedish kroners. Okay. Thank you to Earthly Nomad for the 100 Swedish kroners from Qatar. Interesting. You kind of brought something to my attention here that never occurred to me before right now. There's two types of people basically that are in this, because really this entire thing defies logic. And so presenting logic and reason to people who are being unreasonable and illogical, it's kind of like, it doesn't work. And so you literally have like two groups of people. And this comes back to, well, actually, I kind of talked about it, but I didn't make this connection in terms of stratification of where we're looking at two different intellectual types in Western society. Mm-hmm. And what was I going to make with the point with this? I was going to see this what happens when you get old. Anyway, I think, presenting articles and whatnot, just logical reason and statements to people should really show you where that person is at. That's what the point I wanted to make. The people I consider myself, or I consider respectable to myself, from my perspective on Twitter, they're ostensibly intelligent, well-to-do financially, but they believe the hype, which kind of makes me wonder about their actual position, because I've not seen a person who's independent, either in their finances or in their thinking, that agrees with this entire reaction that our nations are, foisting upon us. Mm-hmm. So I think that says a lot.
You have to think about what makes people fearful, right? So if someone watches CNN and sees all these death counts, and they look, oh, wow, look at all these people dying. I need to get the vaccine. Well, you can just shove the same thing back in their face. Look how many people died from the vaccine. I mean, the reverse programming works too. You can just be the MSM, the mainstream media, for the people you care about. And you can throw everything back at them, that same fear, and it will work. Yeah. I mean, and that might sound cruel, that might sound horrible, but it's either you or CNN. Like, it's you or Anderson Cooper. Who do you think cares more about your mom and dad than, between you and fucking Anderson faggot Cooper? Like, it's the reality of it, man. No, and you're what did you just say? I forgot.
They're dependent. I mean, I think there's two types of people. There's the economically dependent and there's the intellectually dependent. And those are the people you can't reach. And the two are not necessarily, they don't necessarily overlap, There might be a person.
Yeah, I mean, overwhelmingly leftists work in career jobs, or they work in HR, they work in whatever bullshit thing they studied in. Most entrepreneurs lean conservative. Most people who are self-made lean to the right. They want more economic liberty. They want more personal liberty. And I wouldn't even consider myself to be someone who's like a Republican or conservative. I'm much more a let's have no government, let's be libertarian.
Yeah.
But most of the winners are on the right, not the left. That's the reality of it.
Yeah. Frorasu with the $10 super chat. Thank you, my man. You are this dude right here. This is my homie right here. He always take care of me on every show. He says, I say us conservative-minded people build communities among like-minded people. The leftists' weakness is that they tend to not have kids, but they'll rather try to brainwash your children. I agree and I disagree. For Rasu, the issue is, and of course, now actually, Kyle's my guest. Let me let Kyle lead this one. Please go ahead. If you got something for this.
Conservative people build communities. Yeah, I mean, that's true, though. But that's the problem, man, that's the whole point of COVID, right? Is disconnect people from their societies. You can't see your neighbors. You can't see your family. You can't talk amongst each other. So if you look back in history, how did people organize resistance against governments? By meeting in secret. And unfortunately, with cell phones now and everything else in technology, that's close to impossible. And now they've taken one step further. Don't meet in person. So I fully agree. I disagree with that. Well, no, I agree with you. I completely do. But it's difficult. It's more difficult than people realize. And most people aren't willing. They're too comfortable. Even conservatives are too busy watching Netflix or watching YouTube or whatever else they're doing to organize these kind of things. But yeah, you're right. The leftist weakness is don't have kids, like don't make a family, don't do anything else. And to that, I say, fuck them, have like 10 kids. People will, and the argument, of course, immediately is, oh, you want to bring a child into this world that's about to be overrun by communism? Well, dude, like people throughout the history of the world have had kids during bad times. It's nothing new. That's what people do. So it's the chance you have to fight against that is by raising an army. Honestly, that's a better chance. So,
yeah, I think.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead. No, I mean, where do you disagree with him? I am curious what your thoughts are on that.
Well, I agree with the concepts in general. I mean, absolutely. But the problem is you can't do this in Western society. You literally need a whole country to do it because now what you're going to do is you're going to build a community that's underneath the government. And then what happens? The government's just going to swoop in, roll you over, and there's not really much to do about it, and resistance. The U.S. is going around droning people halfway around the world. You don't think they can drone you? I mean, the reality is if you become an incredible threat, they will come for you. And all the rules will not apply, and so there's limitations to what you can possibly do in this modern age. Even if you find a new country, let's say you go to Antarctica and you can survive in the Arctic cold with your new community, they can still fly a drone up there. You're not free. Look what they did to Libya. Look what they did to Iraq. Entire established nations, they came and rolled over those guys just because they wanted their own way of sovereignty.
Because they had the better remote control helicopter. That's the reality of it.
Exactly. And so when you start talking about independence and sovereignty and whatnot, they topple entire nations and they're unashamed about it. So you as a citizen, it makes it difficult. I'm not saying don't take action. Absolutely, you have to take action. Because eventually what happens is the community becomes, the family becomes a community, the community becomes the nation. So at some point, you're going to have to start it. But now we come into the whole conversation of, saving the West, enjoy the decline, this, that, the other. And then you've got all these social movements and these, personal political movements, the manosphere saying you can't save the West. These ones want to save the West. And bro, you're not going to find a community like that. And if you do, it's going to be very small. I'm not saying don't try it. By no means whatsoever. Absolutely do it. I've got 9 kids, I got my own tribe and I intend on maintaining that. So, on a personal level, I'm doing what I can. Absolutely. But is it going to be enough?
That's just it. It has to come from the ground. And I disagree with a lot of the people on the right who say, oh, we'll just go primary or Republican candidate, go run against them, show them what it means. And it's like, well, they just cheated for the last election. I don't think you can win that anymore. But I still do believe there's countries that have the testosterone needed to stand up for what's right. I believe that goes further east. And I believe, like, for example, Ukraine, they overthrew their president. They ran out of the country just 6 years ago. So there's only so far that this government right now, who's just been recently elected, will push, because they know there's a limit where people will say, we're going to hang you up in the square. And that's what the West needs, is these politicians, they need to fear for their lives. That's the reality. Like a government who doesn't fear its citizens is a government that's left unchecked. And right now they have zero fear. So I don't know, man. I mean, you just made a good point. Like, save the West, enjoy the decline. I don't like my take personally is I don't think the West can be saved, but I don't think you can enjoy the decline because if you enjoy the decline, you're no better than the people who let the West fall. And right now, if you're my age, for example, I'm 29, like, it wasn't my fault. Like, for example, I can't be blamed for the fall of America, but I sure as hell can blame, I even blame my grandma and my parents. Like, they didn't stand, they're just unplugging now. And I'll tell them that. I'll say, you lived comfortable lives your whole life, but you didn't realize what was happening around you. So I won't just sit back and enjoy the decline, but I will fight for what's right in my new home because it's too late to save the West. That's the way I look at it. So,
yeah,
and every man is going to draw his own conclusions. Every man's going to have his own take on it. But you have to figure out what that line in that sand is for you, and you have to figure out where you're going to, the hill you're going to die on. So, yeah, that's the reality of it.
Yeah. I
mean, it's not an easy conversation to have.
No, it's not. I mean, we see it, we see, what is the word I'm looking for? Not serious efforts being taken. Like Texas, they just applied again for cessation from the United States. They just did it again. It just out of the blue this year. I mean, it's going to take stuff like that, on a larger scale. But then again, now we come back to the conversation we were having earlier. You've got like all of these Californians who got bad voting policies moving to California. How well is that going to go if you've got all of those guys in your camp and you're trying to do different? So if you set up one of these communities and it turns out well, then everybody's going to be like, oh, look at those guys over there. They're doing great stuff. And that's what happens generally with conservative minded. You don't have to be conservative like the right, left in the sense that we understand.
Because conservatives are actually more accepting than the left.
Yes. And then all those guys come in and then they start screwing up your community because, exactly. You're open, you're welcoming, your freedom. Hey, do what you want to do. Just do it behind closed doors. Don't tell us about it. And then that turns into the new policy. Whatever they're doing behind closed doors becomes.
Dude, that's just it. I was just tweeting about this yesterday. If people want to check my Twitter profile, they'll see exactly what I was saying. But I was saying, Russia right now has some very big protests because Putin, poisoned his opposition. And you know what? I didn't know anything about this until yesterday. But all I did was Google the guy's name. And guess what? He supports same-sex marriage. He supported BLM. I'm like, so Putin had a heavy hand. And I'm not saying he's perfect. He's not an angel. But he used a heavy fucking hand to maintain his country's culture and traditions. And that should be respected, not villainized. And that's what the Western media will do. And I look at Lukashenko. I'm like, look at the fucking ball at Lukashenko. All the girls are pretty. They're dressed well. They're thin. All the guys have great posture. They're strong. I'm like, so yeah, maybe he ruled with a heavy hand. Maybe he threw some people in prison. Maybe the police beat the shit out of some people. But I hate to say it, sometimes a dictatorship is necessary to preserve what is there. I think that's the conversation people don't want to have in the West. Yeah, that's something that we won't have. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it. I mean, I honestly believe that it's going to sound crazy that there is too much freedom. I'm a Muslim, so obviously we believe that there's too much freedom. You know what I mean? I mean, we got
most humans can't handle it. They become fucking degenerates.
We've got heavy-handed rules in Islam. I mean, we're famous for it. So,
and I respect the hell out of that. You know what? I have a fucking problem with the guys in the manosphere who are like, enjoy the decline. Western society can't be saved. But then they go to Ukraine or Poland or Serbia or wherever else, and they're like, oh, well, the girls don't put out enough. They don't put out fast enough. I can't go out and, bang a girl within an hour. It's like, well, what the fuck do you want? And then, of course, as soon as those places are ruined, they go, and I hate to say it, but Rush is a good example of this. Oh, Poland sucks now. There's too many Westerners. The girls are too sick. It's like, well, you fucking contributed to it, dude. Like, you can either, and I hate to say the phrase man up, but you can accept that traditional values and customs come with a trade-off. That you can't have your fucking cake and you can't eat it too. And this is where I have big respect for Islamic culture. You guys keep people in fucking line, and that's it. You can either accept it or you can't. And that's in the West, we're out of fucking control. So we want to have all the cakes, and we want to eat all of them, and we want everything else on the side too.
Yeah, well, one of my biggest problems with the manosphere was like the level of contradiction or self-contradiction and hypocrisy that nobody apparently noticed. It's like, all right, let's learn game, let's bang women. Cool. Oh, well, all women are whores. You can't you can't find any partners. There's no women that you could partner up with. Well, my niggas, you just told me you got like a 700 body count. Now, wait, what?
Yeah.
You made the whores. What are you talking about? You made the whores, guy. You and your 10 buddies with like 700 body counts each. Help me here. It's well, I want a virgin. How? My niggas, 700 body count. I don't understand it. It's just
it's a complete disconnect from reality. It's a complete inability to recognize your own, I don't want to say shortcomings, but your own hypocrisy. And that's just it, man. It's like, so a lot of the guys in the sphere want to say like, oh, like you can't get a woman with more than a body count of 5 or 7 or 10, whatever the number is. I don't know what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
But that's true for guys too. It's a lot higher. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's 10x, maybe it's 20x. But you can't sit there and say like women can't have kids if they have a body count of more than 5 while you've had 500. Like it's completely stupid. It's a complete disconnect. Let me take this question then. So do you believe in marriage? If yes, do you plan on getting married? And if yes, under what circumstances? I totally believe in it. I think I will at some point. I believe you need to come to terms with what is realistic in society today and what your own self-belief system is. So you need to decide what is too much for you, what you can stomach, and you have to decide if you're happy with that. So that's just it. We say all the time, if a woman sleeps with more than 10, she's broken. Well, are you too broken? You might have to come to terms with some things. You might have to actually look inside yourself and actually come to terms with some things that you've done in your life. And you might have to come to terms with the fact that you might need to be unselfish in order to raise children. Heaven forbid, you might have to think with more than just your dick. That's the reality of it. And that's the conversation that people in the manosphere, the guys in the pickup game, they don't want to have that conversation. They don't want to put someone, a helpless soul, a child, before their own self-interest. So, yeah, I totally believe in it. I think at some point in my life, I'll be damn well prepared for it. But I'm willing to come with the reality, and a lot of people aren't. The game community, the manosphere, they're not wrong. They developed a solution to a problem that was plaguing, but they haven't modified. They haven't come to terms with the new reality of it. They're still stuck in 2008, 2010. Which is like basically all girls in the U.S. and the Western world, they're all sluts now. Like, so you got what you wanted. It's easy. It's like, seriously, if you can't get laid in America, like, I don't know what is wrong with you, but they're giving it out like candy. So that's on you, man.
Yeah, one thing, and I got a lot of homies in the manosphere. I don't want to totally crap on them. I got, I started off.
Yeah, I don't.
But one thing I think that really terrifies guys more than the idea of marrying a whore is the idea that they might actually have a daughter. I think that scares them more than anything else. That's a hypothesis. I think that terrifies them because they know what they've been up to, and the idea that they might actually have a female child, I think 50, that terrifies
50 chance.
Yeah,
I don't know how you come to terms with that. I mean, yeah, I would probably struggle with that. There's probably some karma that's in store for me. Yeah, that's fair. I don't know, man. You have 9 kids. How many are daughters? How many are sons? What's the ratio there?
I have 3 daughters.
Okay, so you're good.
Yeah, 3 daughters. I'm trying to get my 20-year-old married. She asked me to help her get married when she was like 16. I've still been looking. It's just so rough finding like a dude that is suitable. And I don't consider myself to have exceptional standards, but dude, the reality is you are the torchbearer after me. So if you're not going to be able to beat anybody's ass who breaks into the house, take care of the bills, you know what I'm saying, and think logically when it doesn't serve you, because we all get emotional. I get angry. Anger is I wrote a whole book about it. I call it the mad monkey because he's a little bastard inside of me, and he gets out of his cage and he goes crazy. He went off on a dude just 2 days ago. I was at a construction site. Dude just started talking to me wild, and everybody was like, yo, who the heck is this guy? Because I play extra nice, because when I'm not nice, I'll freaking tear someone's face off. And they were just like, wow, Abuamerican's like really ugly.
He's
They
on
never
it,
saw me
yeah.
like that, you know? And so it's, if you can't meet that basic standards, what can I do with you? How am I going to give you to my daughter? Because that's her foundation. It's
Yeah.
me. It's like, dude, and I can't find it. I can find guys that can make money. I can find guys that can be masculine. I can find guys that they're stoic. But the combination, good God, am I asking too much?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You are in today's world. You are. Sorry. Pick two. Sorry. Pick two of the three.
Oh, jeez, man.
Pick two of the three and beat the other one into him.
It's just killing me, man. It's just killing me.
Yeah, I mean, I want to dig into this. I'm very curious, actually. So you can find guys that meet. What were the three things you just said? They can make money. They can
make money, masculinity, a basic sense of masculinity, and he has a degree of like intellectual / emotional control, direction.
So he's not retarded.
Basically, yeah. Don't be a retard.
So you really haven't found any that matched all three,
dude.
Like how many have you had that have fallen short there? Like
I thought I found one guy, but he was just really a conniving dude. I don't hate him or anything, anything. I'm kind of we're quote unquote cool, but he's just too slimy, conniving, for me to consider him family, But
you're looking in Germany, right?
I'm looking globally. The guys that I find the best are guys from my generation. So
do you have I'm really curious actually. Do you have an issue coming to terms with someone like about your age to your daughter?
I really don't.
How old are you?
I'm 48.
Okay.
She's 20. I mean, I was married to a 22-year-old just recently. I mean, I've got prospects that are 19 in Austria. I just can't travel. Well, maybe the Austrians will let me in now since they're going crazy over there. But I don't have a problem with it. It's her, because at the end of the day, even though Islamically I can like refuse suitors, I can't force her to accept one. So, Islamically she has the right to choose.
Is that how it works?
Yeah. I can bring suitors all day and she can reject them, but so it's her right.
See, so that's just it, man. I mean, I'm a little ignorant. I can be the first to admit that, but I didn't know that she could reject it.
No, absolutely.
I thought it was fully arranged, like, father has the final word. So that's just it. The mainstream media makes it out to be like, oh, it's so.
They do it. It's culture, though.
They do. Yeah, well, that's just it, though. She's got final say, so that's fair.
Yeah.
It's just, I bet
in Eastern cultures, like we're talking Middle East, Southeast Asia, they don't refuse. They literally just doing this. But Islamically, there's no foundation for that behavior. Yeah.
Which is, well, yeah, I mean, maybe she can refuse a few, but if you bring like 20 and she still doesn't want one, well, you know what? Dude, there's a lot of girls here in Ukraine and Russia who I wish my dad would bring me a few suitable men, like find them. Like, so that's fair game, you know? No, that's done right as far as I'm concerned, man. I've met
a lot of guys that can make money. I've met a lot of guys that can make money. It's like making money is easy, but finding guys that like, all right, you can make money, ball up a fist, what am I gonna do with this? I can't code like this. Like, dude, are you kidding me right now? It's basically like that. Islam right now, the Muslims, they're in a very bad position in state, and the ones in the West, they're very simpy, unfortunately. Love you guys, you're my brothers, but I wouldn't want them, a lot of them, excuse me, to have my back in a fist fight. It's just yeah.
Man, that's like one more responsibility. I mean, I kind of feel the pain there because obviously fathers want what's best for their daughters, but yeah, like you have that responsibility, and it's if you don't have any options, like what the fuck are you to do? If there's nothing suitable, like you can't just conjure it out of thin air.
I can't.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally, I don't want to sound crazy. I mean, the manosphere kind of mocks it, but in a sense, I am quote unquote this family patriarch, and if you can't at least, do that status, whatever it is, subjectively to every individual, then what the heck can I do with you? How can I give you my daughter, man? You know what I mean? It's just the wildest thing. So it's a wild world we're in right now.
I don't know, man. Maybe try like Muslim Cupid or something. I don't know.
It's a mess.
I can't help you on this, though. This is one thing. I can't help you at all on this.
No, it's a mess. Well, game recognized game. And so we, as men, we know when we're looking at somebody like, yeah, that dude right there, he's on it. And then you look at other guys.
He gets it. Yeah.
Like, really?
Yeah.
We're over an hour right now. We're at an hour 10 minutes. Generally, I keep it at an hour. I don't want to hold you up too much. I don't know how much time you got. You know, but
whatever.
yeah, guys, we'll give you an opportunity to drop a few more questions. And we're gonna call this. We'll say I'll give you guys like 6 minutes. We'll drop it at an hour and 15 minutes, so it's a nice even. No, that's not even, but you know what I'm saying, guys. Muslim keep. Yes, there are Muslim. Okay, so here we go. We got a question. Rishi's got some decent questions always. So, how do you guys see the future of westernized feminism indoctrinated countries for e.g. US, UK? Oh God,
you haven't gotten the hint yet. Based off. Well, okay. Let me. So here's the thing: if things were to get really, really bad, really, really quick, I think we'll all be shocked at how quickly females will go from "I'm so independent, I have my own job," blah blah blah, to "Please save me." Like that'll happen fucking fast. Like as soon as bullets are flying, girls will be hiding in the basement. Like men will be cannon fodder really, really quick. If you can figure it out, you can protect, you can defend, you can make money, you can provide any sort of decent life. It won't take a whole generation to destroy feminism. It'll take like a month. Like survival always trumps all. Just remember that. Survival always trumps everything. That's basic biology. So basically, if things were to get really, really bad, then maybe they could be saved from a feminist relationship standpoint. But that's the whole point, is by easing in UBI, universal basic income, by easing in socialism, by easing in making everyone more dependent on the government, the government knows they can't just take their big dick and shove it in your ass. They know they got to warm you up. They got to give you a little foreplay. They got to put a little lube on it. That's the reality. And that's just it. That's where I keep saying, where the hills to die on? They're gone. They're missing. They're disappearing left and right. That's the reality. This is how programming, this is how change happens from a huge government standpoint, is by slowly indoctrinating people. And look at COVID. First it was masks don't work. Then it was 2 weeks to slowly spread. And then it became stay inside your home for a month. Then it became 2 months. And now here, a year later, it's still 2 weeks to slowly spread. It tells you all you need to know.
Yeah. I mean, as for me, I think I've been talking about this for a while now. I don't think we're going to see a serious change until the collapse of the West comes. And I think the collapse of the West is inevitable at this point. Feminism and indoctrination is destroying the West. We have the West confused about how many genders there are, pronouns, all this stuff. You don't see the Chinese having these problems. And they're steady over there building weapons. They're steady over there making money so that they can build more weapons. And they're steady taking over Africa, where all the resources are. These people are playing chess. We're not even playing checkers, guys. We've literally
we're playing
just
bingo.
walked away from the board. Yeah, exactly. We're playing bingo. And so we're going to find out really rapidly that there's an entire sector of people out there in the world that don't like us. They plot against us constantly and consistently. And they are not confused about where things are and what how they're supposed to be. And those people with their focus are going to overtake those people who are unfocused, talking about 86 genders and my pronouns and all this type of stuff. So the West, I have a very grim outlook for it. Maybe we won't live to see it. Maybe we will. These things tend to take off like rapidly. Rishi with another question. Any life advice, Kyle, especially in regards to women? Especially in regards to women. Like, I'm not going to go off on you, Rishi, but in life in general, any book or recommendations?
As far as women, be cautious of what people in the game community and pickup artists and even the manosphere tell you, which is that you can't necessarily have your cake and eat it too. Like, people want to say women can only sleep with 2 guys before they're broken and guys can sleep with 2,000. Well, I don't know what that limit is for guys. But there is a point where I've seen a lot of guys get fucking broken. So I think that's important to keep in mind. If you want to have a family, you want to, contribute something to humanity, then you need to consider that. And think about that sooner rather than later. As far as general life recommendations, man, the best thing you can do is use your time wisely. Like, a lot of people come to me and say, oh, I'm working a 9 to 5. I'm busy. I'm tired. And I say, how much are you really working at that 9 to 5? Because I wrote my whole first books, my blog. I did it in a fucking Gmail little window in the corner of my second monitor as I was at my job making 86 grand a year. I was 23 years old. I was a senior engineer, and I wrote books because I was so bored. And I did it in the little corner of my screen. and I saved it in my Gmail drafts, and then I went home and published it. So most people, you have plenty of time. Your employer doesn't actually care. Use your time wisely and don't go home. I get it. You're tired. It's draining. But guess what? If you start doing a little bit at work, you start breaking a few rules, you'll have more energy at home. So find a way to use that energy and, use it for good.
I have a question here.
Yep.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Do any of your wives come from Germany? I did deliver. Why? You trying to snitch? Y'all feds be showing up left and right, man. It's unimportant. Durangi or Irangi or however you say your name, there's nothing that can benefit you in answering that question. If they were, what changes for you? And if they weren't, what changes for you? I have married German women. I've married non-German women. I've married women from this country. I've married women who are not from this country. It's never made a difference. That it's never, in terms of what I've been doing in terms with women, it's never mattered. So it wouldn't matter.
We're all the same.
Exactly. And that actually brought me to the manosphere and red pill, was realizing that women are all the same. And I'll just tell you a quick story real fast about this. I was married to a Kenyan, a Somali. They're people who speak different languages and they hate each other, and a German. And there was a point where I knew they weren't talking to each other, but they were all saying the same thing to me. And at that point, I understood that what I was looking at was a social expression of a biological trigger. So I was triggering something biological in them, which was causing a social expression that was universal to women, which caused them to say the same thing. There was no cultural unity in them, no religious unity in them, and no ethnic connection to them. But they were all saying the same thing. Women are all the same. So, yeah, it doesn't matter where
they don't actually care when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
No. They have loose morals.
Yeah.
But you speak Arabic, German, and English, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Why is your beard so patchy?
Because I'm half Asian. Is he talking to you or me? I don't know.
I don't know.
I actually had a beard bigger than that one, than yours, actually. And I had hair down to my shoulders in 2019. But as far as why my beard's patchy, man, I'm half Italian, half Asian. I don't have actual good genes to grow a beard, so I'm stuck with what I can. I can live with it.
Yeah, my mother's Indian. She's half Indian. She's half white, half Indian. And Indian.
No, dude, yours is fucking good, man.
Yeah, so I got patches. I consider myself patchy.
Anyway, shut up. Come on. No, you're good, man. No, you got a good beard.
If I just went Shaq's, see, he's talking to me.
Oh, he is talking to you. Oh shit. Yeah. All right.
Because I'm partly Indian, and Indians aren't known for a bunch of hair. The Pakistanis are known for a bunch of hair. Indians aren't, and my mom is part Indian. That's why. So, anywho, guys, thanks for tuning in. It's an hour and 20 minutes.
Let me take this last one here from Kamran, Kiev or Odessa. So Kiev is obviously much more metropolitan. It's much more Western. It's the capital city. Odessa is a beach city. I mean, I don't know if you've been to any European beach cities, but they're all kind of the same. You get a lot of tourists. It's fun, but Kiev is much better, I think, overall quality of life. That's just my take on it.
There you go.
That's all. The end.
I need to go. I need to visit.
Come out here, man. I'll be happy to show you around. We can find you another wife.
Don't get me out there, man. I'm looking for a white girl to put on a team, to close out the deal with a white girl, but it's just been rough. It's been rough pickings, man. I found one.
There's a lot of white girls out here, man. Have you set your Tinder to Ukraine yet?
No, I don't. Maybe you could tell me. I keep on getting the word that, they're kind of racist out there. So I don't know. I mean, I hear that about Poland.
I'll hook you up with my brother Sam. He's a black guy who's been here since 2014, and he does pretty good. I'll just put it that way. Maybe he'll watch this. He sometimes watches some of the stuff. He follows me on Twitter, so maybe he'll watch this. Dude, you might not have the greatest pickings, but the ones who are down to pick you are really, really down.
Yeah.
So take it for what you may.
Unstoppable Force. Why a white girl? Because that's what I'm missing from the team. I got everything else, including a Somali girl. So yeah, thanks. Anyway,
guys, you just want some diversity, man. No racism here. We're open and accepting here.
Exactly. Who goes to the ice cream store and then just buys like 4 scoops
of chocolate, right?
Who does that? Unstoppable Force is a hater. He don't want to, like, you know, he just don't want to say it. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks everybody for the super chats.
Thank you.
Kyle, thank you for coming on the show. I definitely want to have you on again.
Yes,
and
it was fun.
Guys, we'll see you next week, same time. OG Logic, we are out. Oh, wait. Sorry. Hold on. If anybody wants to contact you, if you want to be contacted, how do they do it?
Kyle Treble on Twitter. You can find my Telegram and my email list on that. I send out emails most days of the week. That's it. Kyle Treble.
There you guys go. Know how to get a hold of them. All right, guys, we're signing off.